All right, we're starting the Power Hour for March 15th. We're going to do, today's session is on cold calling and scripts. First thing I always tell people with scripts is don't overthink it. You know, certainly you can get better with time and like learning what some people use for scripts, and we'll go over what some basic scripts here. I always recommend you make it your own. You try to internalize it versus reading it, because when you're reading it, someone's going to throw you off. You're mid-sentence, you'll be starting to read your script, and they'll say something, and you'll be like, wait a minute, you're not supposed to talk.
Not your turn.
That's not part of the script. Wait a minute, you're
I'm not on my listening part yet.
you're not giving me the right objections. So, you know, whatever you do is with cold calling and scripting, make sure you make it your own. Make sure you use something that's comfortable with you. Some people don't use scripts at all, and they'll just call up and let's have a conversation. You know, whether it's calling expired and just saying, hey, you're thinking about putting your house on the market again this year, or for sale by owner, hey, I noticed your house is on the market. Well, for sale by owner is a little bit different, but even calling neighborhoods and saying, oh, you know, we're low on inventory. You know, have you thought about selling? That's what some people do. And some people get very scripted and they practice and they perfect them. And I think both ways can work. So find something that's comfortable for you and just start calling. You'll make mistakes, but the more calls you make, the better you get. And you can't get business without calling. So you need it. The other thing is you need a list. It's easier to call when you make more calls related to the same type of scripting you're doing. So decide what you want to do for prospecting. We got some agents that are calling and door knocking and getting business from it because it's, you know, we're really out in a market where we're trying to find new sellers that have yet to come to market. That are just maybe sitting in their house thinking day after day, you know, maybe we'll sell this year, and all of a sudden you pop up on the phone or in front of them at the door, and it's almost perfect timing for them. So this stuff works. You just have to do it. Is anybody cold calling now?
I was trying.
You're trying?
Yeah.
How's it going?
That's a little.
No?
Has anybody cold called in a different industry or different sales or marketing?
I have before, yeah, because I used to work in nonprofit development and fundraising. So even if it wasn't my department, they'd have like these big rallies at the end of the year, especially to do like annual fund cold calling.
Mhm.
They'd be calling alums from the different universities and things, and you pretty much had a script. And my only advice is you just can't take it personally when someone yells at you. You know, you know how many student loans I have? Like that was like the one that we always got the most.
Oh, really?
When calling alums, that is.
But it came down to the same thing, persistence, right? Hang up, try again.
Yep.
Something
You know,
personal.
and you can't take it personally. You can't get upset if someone hangs up on you, or if someone says, I'm really not interested. How'd you get my number? You know, this isn't for me. You just cross them off your list and move on to the next one.
Right.
You know, and it's only, especially if they hang up on you, you know, that was a quick one. It only took you 30 seconds to do your day. So,
Exactly. The other thing I think helps is just to remember that why we're in the business. We're in the business to help people. You can't help people if you're not out there offering to help people. So if you're sitting in your house and no business is coming to you, you're not able to help people. You know, you're not really doing any service to the community and what you're trying to do, which is help people buy and sell. So if you think about it in that regards too, if you're calling someone's just like, yeah, oh, I'm sorry, I'm in the business of helping people. I'm sorry, I can't help you. You know. So you keep that in mind as well. So let's start going through some scripts. If you need some call lists, work with Jeannie. We have this call directory, which we can do data dumps in Excel with home phone numbers and cell phone numbers for, what's that?
You're welcome.
Is that a list right there?
Yeah, that's another one. I found a nice little neighborhood in West Boylston that's mine. So it's all back on.
So, you know, there's a lot of different things we can pull. We can pull, if you wanted to go after even buyers, you could find an apartment building or like a complex or one of those like Avalons or something that have, you know, 50, 100 units in it and find the address of that complex, and she can do a dump of all the people that live in there with their phone numbers. And you just start calling up saying, hey, I specialize in helping buyers, buy their first home. And you thought about, stop throwing money towards rent and start throwing it towards a mortgage. It'll build your equity, and see where it goes from there. She can pull this for a neighborhood. So if you want to focus in on a town, focus in on areas or clusters in town. My suggestion is to do a little research on the town and know the town you're in, kind of see what neighborhoods have maybe transitional neighborhoods, like a lot of 1,000 to 1,500 square foot homes. Those are good neighborhoods to work right now because there's a lot of first-time home buyers coming in the market, but there's also a lot of those people that are thinking, okay, we've owned this house for 5 to 10 years, and now we want to buy a bigger house. So those are great neighborhoods to work. So every town has those neighborhoods or those areas of town where in the 50s to 70s they built hundreds of 1,000, 1,500 square foot ranches. Those are great neighborhoods to go after. So if you find those neighborhoods, you can give Jeannie the street, or you can
You can give me a rate. You just give me a starting address, and I can pull either a quarter mile or a tenth of a mile, depending on the population density, because I can pull 1,500 records for you. Of that 1,500, maybe 40% will have phone numbers, but it's a place to start. So you go, 1,500 records. And if you want something much more smaller, targeted, I can actually put, if you want to come in and do it with me, you can click on a map, and I can do like 6 reference points within a map if you want a really specific neighborhood, and pull up all the data that way. There are 2 different searches. One is a cell phone and landline only search. The other one is a neighborhood search that comes back with housing data, like when they bought the house, how much they paid for it, and if there's an existing mortgage, if that's in there as well. And those will typically have landlines. Again, landlines are people who have probably been in their house for at least 15 years, since before the advent of everybody switching over to cell phones and owning cell phones. So some of the landlines have played out to be a little bit more efficient in terms of actually calling.
You still have a landline? That's it? I said you don't have landlines?
We don't use it though.
Wow. Yeah, I never use mine either. But
I
it's just there.
It's just there.
Awesome.
Okay, your phone number. So that's just another way to get phone numbers to do your call list. And it gives you a reason to call. Oh, I'm in that neighborhood a lot, or I just happen to drive past your house. Blah blah blah. That way, you already know the neighborhood, and you're showing that. Or if it's like the neighborhood where your church is, or where you volunteer at an animal shelter, have some sort of connection to it when you make that phone call.
Right. So if you need lists, you can work with Jeannie
Happy to do.
to develop some lists to call. So let's start talking about the scripts. And I'll just read through them, and then we'll chat about each one. So the first one, and some of these came from Cole directly themselves, actually. So let's take a look at the first one, listing a new property. So this is one, if you had a listing and you wanted to cold call around that listing, you could, even if you don't have listings, if there's an office listing in the office that you know that is in the neighborhood you want to work, just ask the listing agent in the office if they mind if you cold call around their listing. Most of them in the office will probably say, all right, unless they're actively doing this every day, they're probably all right if you call. So if it's not your listing, but it's in a neighborhood that you want to work in the office, just ask the listing agent, hey, do you mind if I cold call around the neighborhood to let them know that your house is listed? So if it's any of mine, I don't care. So probably a lot of the people in the office probably fine with it, but just check if it's not your own listing. So here's the script. Hi, my name is Tracy Barber with Exit Ready Partners. I'm not sure if you know, but Mary Smith, they're just, the Smiths over there next to you, they're moving. You may have noticed the for sale sign over at 123 Main Street. I just listed it, and I wanted to make sure you were aware that there might be some extra traffic on your street in your neighborhood. They're probably checking out the property. We will also be having an open house this weekend, and it's always a great when the neighbors come and talk up how great the area is. I wanted to leave my contact information in case you have any questions. I may also stop by in the next few days to drop off my card. Thanks for your time. Hope to meet you at the open house. I personally would leave out the extra traffic part of it. So again, it's personal. It's personal, you know, what feels right to you. So read these over a couple times. I prefer shorter over longer. That's a little lengthy to me. And again, it's developing something that is most comfortable to you. Sometimes it's wording, certain wording that's not comfortable with the way you are. Sometimes it's just something doesn't feel right. So, I mean, you could even leave that as simple as, hey, I just want to let you know that Mary Smith down the street listed their house. If you know anybody that might be interested in the house, let me know. I'm having an open house this weekend from 11 to 1. Hope you can stop by. And you may see me or one of my team members dropping off some flyers in the neighborhood. It could be as simple as that. But, you know, if you get a listing, it's well worth doing this because you could, you know, I almost, and they say that like it's almost contagious listing homes. Especially if you see one in the neighborhood, typically you're going to see a few in the neighborhood. It's like, oh, they're selling. Maybe we need to sell. Or, whatever it is. There is
Yeah, what are they asking?
oh, they got theirs priced at that. Maybe we should list our house too. It happens. So it's rare if you get a listing or go around a listing if you don't drive a few streets around it and see other listings. It's probably pretty rare. Unless it's about instance. Any questions on that one? Any comments on that? Okay, let's read the next one. This is an open house invite. Hi, my name is Tracy Barber with Exit Ready Partners. I'm calling to let you know that I'm hosting an open house at 123 Main Street on Sunday from 11 to 1. I apologize in advance for the extra traffic on the street. Again, I'd get rid of that. I do want you to stop by if it works for your schedule, and feel free to bring a friend. It's always great when neighbors come and talk up how great the neighborhood is. Thanks for your time. Hope to meet you at the open house. That's it. Shorter and to the point, especially if you're doing an open house. And if you're doing an open house for anybody else in the office, do this too. Just get with Jeannie. Make sure you set up the open house by the beginning of the week, like Monday, and then maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, make your calls to invite neighbors to the open house. I can tell you one thing, if they're thinking about listing and you're aggressive, even if it's not your listing and you're aggressively calling them and saying, hey, I want you to come to my open house, if they're thinking about selling, they're thinking, well, this is an aggressive agent. Maybe I need to be talking to them if I'm thinking about listing. So think about that. Any questions on that one? Next one is a just sold. So you just sold the property, or even I've seen a lot of agents do this kind of script with whatever neighborhood you want to work. Find a recent sale. It doesn't even have to be with Exit Realty. If you know that 126 Burncoat Street sold for $220 in the first 2 days on the market, that you're just sharing information with them. You're not telling them I sold the house. You just telling them about a sale. But let's read the script and then we'll talk about that more. Hi, this is Tracy Barber with Exit Realty Partners. I just wanted to let you know that your neighbor's house at 126 Burncoat Street just sold. The house was in the market for 3 days and sold at 98% of asking price. When staged and priced right, homes in this area sell quickly. We have a lot of interest in this house. Do you know of any neighbors or friends thinking about making the move? Thanks for your time. Please feel free to pass my name along if you know anybody that might be looking to buy or sell. That's a pretty good script. I like that one. What I like about it is it's actually an indirect question saying, do you know any neighbors that are thinking about buying or selling? Instead of saying, are you looking to do something?
Yeah.
You're saying,
Take the pressure off of them.
right, if it happens to be them, they're more likely to say, well, I'm thinking about doing something. Not my neighbors, I'm thinking about doing something. So it's a good indirect question. I like that one. And again, that one, it could be any house in the neighborhood. You know, if you're working, and this is where I really think working an area and working a market closely works best for kind of growing your business, is because then you're going to have a market hot sheet. You guys know how to do that in the MOS. If you don't, Jeannie can help you with that. But you can set up a market hot sheet for whatever area you want to work. Let's say it's a zip code of Worcester or a town, and you can set it up so that every day you get an update on your market hot sheet on what new listings have come on, what's sold, what's gone under agreement, so that when you're making these calls, you can say, hey, just, right down the street, the house just sold, and then another one just sold. So you've got the market stats, and you're calling them up, and then they don't have to be your sales. You're just reporting what's going on in the neighborhood, and it's helpful for getting business. So, any questions on that? Okay. Past clients and spheres of influence. Hi there, it's Tracy Barber from Exit Realty. How are you? I worked with you a few years ago when you bought your house, and I just wanted to check in. How's the house? You probably know this, but there's a demand for homes in the area. If you or any of your neighbors are interested in moving, we've got buyers. Would it be all right if I reached out to some of your neighbors and mentioned your name as a past client?
Call directory.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about that one. I do believe that anybody in your sphere of influence, even if you're email marketing them, Facebook messaging them, that a couple times a year you still should reach out by phone to everybody who's fairly close to you and your network and just say, hey, what's going on? Haven't caught up in a while. So if you don't see them out at parties where you can catch up or out at events and you know that someone you want to keep in touch with, you should be calling and just catching up. So that one is calling your past clients. And if they bought with you, you should call them every once a year and say, hey, how's the house going? Happy anniversary on the purchase of your home.
I know you're going to gut your kitchen. What happened with that?
Right. And again, I wouldn't say, are you looking to do something yet and resell it? But I would say, keep in mind if you or any of your neighbors are thinking about buying or selling, or any of your family or friends. And again, if they're thinking about doing something, they will bring it up at that time. So if they say, well, yeah, actually our needs have changed, so now we're thinking we got a little equity in it, we want to sell it already. Because the statistics say that people move every 7 to 10 years, but there are people that will, buy a house a year later, 2 years later. I've seen people buy houses and all of a sudden 2 months later they're getting a divorce and they're selling the house. So you don't know. People's lives change. So
my cousin had 2 sets of triplets. Her needs changed.
Right. Right. That's a government.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Here's one that if you're not calling about a recent sold in the neighborhood or a house you recently sold, this one's kind of a neighbor of a past client, or if you have a sign on the lawn. Hi, my name is Tracy Barber with Exit Realty Partners. Your neighbor, Mary Smith, suggested I reach out to you and introduce myself. I helped them buy their home a few years ago, and I'm actually in your area quite a bit. In fact, I belong to the soccer club and hang around at the bar down there on 5th. I know the neighborhood is quite popular, and if you have any questions in the current market, please let me know. That one's okay. Again, I would probably make it a little bit more on my own if I was going to do that stuff. But it's not bad. Another one that's just that's not on here that I think can work very well is just making up a very simple script to call any neighborhood and just say, hey, I don't know if you've seen or heard, but the market is really hot right now. Every market is really low on inventory. If you or anybody you know has been thinking about buying or selling, let me know. We'd be happy to do a free market analysis on their home. I bet they'd be surprised by what they could get in this market. So we'll put that in writing and send it out to everybody. But it's a very just simple script. The market's definitely hot. We're definitely low on inventory. And we're just calling neighborhoods because buyers are looking for homes and they're not finding any. And you might be really surprised. I think the words, you might be really surprised by what you could get for your home, because it invokes kind of an intrigue, like, well, how surprised?
Yeah.
Maybe I need to find out what my house
And the
is,
nice thing with that Cole neighborhood search, it will tell you when they bought their house and what they paid for it. And so, if they're in a really good equity position, they might be more tempted to move on.
Right. And I mean, there's ways you've probably seen the Facebook ads for get your home value and stuff like that, where you can click and get your home value. And those work, but they cost a lot of money. I think it's just as good, if not better, to just pick up the phone and make 30 calls a day. And you get a voicemail, just leave the same message like, hey, the market's hot. I'm not sure if you or anybody you know have been thinking about selling, but we need more inventory. And you might be really surprised by what you or your friends can get for your home. Here's my phone number if you ever want a free market analysis. It's basically a phone offer of a free market analysis. I think that can work just as well as anything. And then it's not a complicated script. It's very simple. You're just offering something out there and
Make it your own.
and getting people to hopefully raise their hand and say, I'm at least somewhat interested, or hey, I want to get more. These scripts are ones that we've taken out of a class a while ago for sale by owner. This is a for sale by owner approach. I'll read through it and then we'll talk about it. Hi, this is Tracy Barber with Exit Ready Partners. How are you today? This is, oh, I already went. Hi, this is, I start over. All right. Hi, is this Jeannie?
Yes.
How are you today?
Fine.
This is Tracy Barber with Exit Ready Partners. Is your home still for sale?
Yes.
Oh, it is. Okay, great. It looks like a great home. I'd like to stop by and take a look at it on Friday at 1 o'clock. Would that work for you?
Oh, sure.
Great. I'll see you then. It's done. That could be it if you call it sale by owner. That
Should
could
we have
be
some objections?
There might be some suggestions, but the point is that there's not always going to be objections. I think sometimes we overthink it and we think everybody's going to throw in the objection in the book. I've had agents do this, get the yes, go over there, and the for sale by owner say, well, I thought that's, like we've had a good conversation, what would you charge to list the house, and walk out there with a listing? It was probably timing more than anything. It was the same thing probably wouldn't happen if it was the first day that the for sale by owner was trying to sell by themselves. But it happened to be a good timing. They had a good conversation, good rapport. The agent came across as professional. She was dressed professional, acted professional, knew what she was talking about, went in and walked out with the listing. So it can be as simple as that. I think sometimes we overthink, like, for sale by owners are going to torture us, and they hate all agents, and some of them do. Some of them hate agents. Some of them think they're better at your job than you, even though they're not licensed, but not all of them will be. But let's talk about the objections. So a big one is going to be, do you have a buyer? Here's one of the ways you can handle that. Well, I'm not sure. I haven't seen your house yet. I just want to take a look at it and see if I have anyone who might be a fit. But also, I get new buyers every day, so I like to see all the homes in my market so I can act quickly when a new buyer comes into my website. Homes have been selling really fast, and I like to stay on top of the market. It's a perfect explanation. Doesn't have to be anything more than that. Just, I don't know yet. I haven't seen your house. Or, I'd love to take a look at it. I don't know if I have anybody right off the second, but I get new buyers every day. And you could say you could also say our office has hundreds of buyers. I could share it with the office on a private Facebook group and see if somebody might be interested in it and try to take a look at it. So it's, I don't know why any for sale by owner wouldn't want to let you come in to see their house. I mean, some of them will say, well, call me back when you have a buyer. If they're like that, maybe don't push it anymore. But if they say, well, call me back when you have a buyer, my objection handler to that would be, well, I don't want to inconvenience you, so let me know a time when you're going to be there. And if I'm in the area, I'll stop by. So if they give you a time at that point, then you can just go over there and take a look at it. Because if it's not an inconvenience to them, unless they really don't want to work with agents at all, then they're probably going to let you in. Another objection. Oh, here's that one we just talked about. Well, why don't you wait until you have a buyer that wants to see it? The handler we have in here, well, the way I work with buyers is I preview homes for them and only bring them to the ones they think are fit. It saves you and I both a lot of hassle. So when can I stop by? That's another good one as well. An objection, this is a pretty strong objection. I don't work with agents. Has anybody ever heard that one? Here's one handler. I'm sure you have a very good reason for saying that. May I ask what that reason is? So this kind of objection handler comes straight from Floyd Whitman's kind of. If you guys have you guys signed into the sales training series.com website that we have with all the on-demand training? I'll send out a reminder link for that on the Facebook page, but it's got a lot of Floyd Whitman training in it. I suggest you watch Floyd Whitman stuff. He's got some probably the best sales skills kind of basics in the industry. It works across all industries, but one of his ways of handling any objection is to first cushion it and say, I'm sure you have a good reason for feeling like that. Instead of saying to a seller, you're effing crazy, why wouldn't you want to work with an agent? You say, I'm sure you have a good reason for feeling that way. May I ask what that is? So ask for further explanation. You can't handle an objection that's like that until you have further explanation. Well, I was screwed by an agent, and I'm never going to work with an agent again. And then you can kind of get into it more and become their psychologist in a sense and say,
Tell me to
well,
get rid of my 5,000.
yeah, that sounds like it was that sounds like a terrible experience. I'm sorry you went through that. But I know you want to sell your house, and without working with agents, you might find that it's going to be very difficult when 80% of all closings happen with a buyer's agent involved. So it helps if you cushion it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You probably have a very good reason for saying that. May I ask what the reason is? I can fully understand your feelings on that, but would hate that to get in the way of you selling your home and me finding the best house for my buyers. Would you at least show me the house, because I can always ask my buyer to pay me my commission. That's how you can handle that objection. Any other objections you think you might get from for sale by owners or that you guys have heard? Those are the basics, really.
My brother, my sister, my cousin is a realtor.
From a for sale by owner?
Yeah, and if I was gonna go with an agent, I'd go with him.
That's fine. I'm just asking to see the house. Again, to me, that would be great practice. You're up against the wall. You're probably going to have a hard time stealing that listing anyway. But to me, that would be great practice to go there and build rapport. And if nothing else happens, it was practice in going to a for sale by owner and building rapport. Failure is practice. So even if you don't get the business, it's worth going and failing, because the more you fail, the more chance you have of succeeding. It hurts, but it's all part of the process. But that one, you get that one a lot with expireds. I'm going to go with my last agent, or my brother or sister is an agent, and probably the best objection handler for that is, well, it's always good to get a second opinion, in my opinion, and I understand if you end up going with them. But I'd love to give you my opinion so you know what I do in case you do decide, that, and you can use examples. You can say, I know sometimes people don't work with family because they want to keep their financials and their friendships or family separated, and they don't want to strain their relationship if something goes bad when selling their home. So, maybe you want to consider that, and I understand if you end up going with them because of that. But I even had cases where if they get to the point where they let you present to them and they're like, yeah, I'm still thinking about going with family, but I am worried about it, you can say, you could offer that person a referral fee. Say, I know, you could at least go to them and say, the other agent I'm going to go with is going to offer you a referral fee because I didn't want to cut you out completely, but I feel more comfortable working with someone that I can beat up.
Yeah.
And
A neutral third party.
Right. Neutral third party that's not going to be, that you're not going to have to go to holiday parties with and maintain a friendship with. And they all, when someone's looking to use family or friends, or they always think like, okay, it's always going to go good. It's going to go good. It's some house, everything's going to go fine. If you bring to light that, well, sometimes things go badly, and are you concerned? And it might be just a question you ask them. Are you concerned if things go really badly? that it's going to affect your relationship with your friends or your family or whoever you're listening with. So that's another way to. Sometimes people are only thinking about everything's going to go perfect in life, and the sale of my house is going to go perfectly. And you can bring those, questions up. Are you concerned at all that if you list it with your brother that if things go badly or you feel like they're not offering the best marketing solutions at that company, do you feel like you might be concerned about that at all? And you'll be surprised. People will be like, I don't know. I think about that. So, I mean, I guess another objection now could be, if you were getting a major surgery and your brother was a surgeon, but there's another surgeon that could do the surgery at a much higher level hospital in Boston, what would you do? This is the biggest investment in your life, and you ought to think about putting it, letting the best person for the job do it over just feeling like you need to be.
Save $3,000.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, let's move on to expireds. I'll read the script and then we'll talk about it. Hi, is this the owner of the home? It's a good question to ask because sometimes people I think are kind of drawn in at that point. They're like, why? What's this about? So if you weren't going to get their attention, that might get their attention. This is Tracy Carter with Exit Rodeo. I was wondering if you're thinking about selling your house this year. I know your home was on the market and didn't sell, so I wanted to call because this year things have been far different and homes are selling faster and for more money than any time in the past 7 years. I would love to at least give you an update on the valuation of your home. Do you mind if I stop by and share that valuation with you? It's a pretty easy script. You can change it up a little bit. You can shorten it if that's too wordy for you to remember. You could just say, hey, I know your house was on the market previously. The market's hot this year. We're low on inventory. Buyers are scrambling looking for houses, so we're just looking for anybody who might be thinking about selling this year. You might be really surprised by what you find your house could bring this year. Would you mind me doing a free market analysis? So it's very, very easy. And actually, at that question I like even better because you're not. It's getting a yes before you ask for the appointment. Would you mind if I do a free market analysis for you? Most people that might even have an idea in their mind that they're going to sell again would say yes. Okay, yeah, sure. Then you can ask for the appointment. Great, I'll do a couple of market analysis, and do you mind if I stop over Friday between 1 or at 3? The other thing is always good is offer 2 times, because then it's not. Then you're asking for them to make 1 or 2 choices, and people are more likely to choose one than to object. So if you say, make sure you know your schedule, but say, are you available, what's better for you, Friday at 1 or Friday at 3? That's better than saying, what time can you meet? Because then it's like, okay, now I got to object. When can I? No, I don't have any time available next week. So offer them 2 times. And if that doesn't work, offer them 2 more. Okay, how about Saturday at 1 or 3? How about Sunday at 1 or 3 until they give you a yes, basically. And then it's going to be harder for them. It's weird. People object more to you coming over than if you just said, oh, market's hot. Do you mind if I come over at 1 or 3 on Friday to give you a market analysis? They're more likely to say no to that than if you say, do you mind if I do a free market analysis for you? People say yes to that, and then they'll feel more inclined to say yes for you coming over because they've already said yes to one thing. So it's psychology type stuff, but it works. So get an early yes with yes, I love a market analysis. It's free, then sure. And then ask for the appointment. Don't ever give it to them via email, is my opinion. They say, well, why don't you just shoot it to me via email? I would not do that. I'd say, well, there's a lot of information involved, and every market analysis comes with a range. I need to see your house to know where it's going to fit into that range. Otherwise, it's kind of useless information. So if they object to you coming over and saying, just send it to me, email it to me, just say, well, it's not going to really be of any value to you if I don't come over and see your house and point out where your house would fit in that price range.
Or if they say, oh, my house isn't ready, my house is a mess, I'm not ready.
That's okay. because I'm gonna show you, what you might want to do to get your house prepared if you do decide to sell. But that's a good objection if they say that, because that's telling you that they're thinking about maybe doing something. To me, that's like key. Like, oh yeah, well they're thinking about possibly selling if they're saying my house isn't ready yet to show.
Do I have to clean it and do all of that before you show up? No. Like, that's what people will ask.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No.
No, I was gonna paint my kid's bedroom. Do I have to do that? I can't do that before Friday. People will ask these things.
Actually, I've been doing what Mark suggested last time, is that before you do the market analysis, you say you have to do the property so that we can give them an accurate market analysis. You know what how this house will compete with the other one, and it's been working out. So I say, listen, all I need is 15, 20 minutes. I'm just going in to look at the property, look at the structure and so forth, just get an idea of what you have. Then I'll come back at a later time. We'll set up a time and I'll give you the full market analysis and we can go over it. And they're like, oh, okay. So I actually have an appointment Thursday on the property like that. So, and there's the same thing. She's like, well, do I need to? So no,
Yep.
Don't worry about it. No one's going through. I said, well, we'll do the staging and everything once we're ready and buyers come in. So we're already setting the stage that it's going to happen. We're going to get the listing. When the buyers come, then we'll do everything else. So she's like, fine. So Thursday is when I'm going out there.
How did you get that listing up?
That was actually a referral from a tenant that I had.
Oh.
So her daughter, knew us in business and said, hey, it's her neighbor.
Oh.
And she's like, listen, they want to sell, talk to this guy. So I called her up and we did that. So, but now with the phone calls, it's like, yes. So now I'm going to start calling the rest of the street and let them know, what's going on.
So with your call, it could be even if like list the house, so you could say, I just done a market analysis on a home right down the street. They were kind of shocked by how good the market is. They wanted to see if anybody else in the neighborhood was interested in market analysis because they've already done legwork for one of your neighbors. That's a great call right there.
Mm-hmm.
And you can decide if you want to do that approach or the the one-step approach. To me, I don't know. Personally, if I was doing it, what I would do is I'd take a market analysis with me, but then if it wasn't clearly fitting into the range of the market analysis I had, then I'd say, well, here's the base information. Now that I've seen your house, I'd like to come back. I'd do a little bit more research and say, I think you fit into this window, but I'm going to go back and bring some more information and do a more in-depth market analysis. Just because I don't know, personally, I feel like maybe more people would be willing to have you come to the house if they know you're bringing something with them. And you could say, I'm going to do a market area survey. I'll bring it to the house and then see if we need to do some more work to get more honed in with a full-blown market analysis. So it just depends on how you want to approach it, what works for you.
I know for these people, for what they sound, how they sound on the phone, I'm going to have a base plus the listing material and everything already with me.
Mhm.
So if once we go through, depending on how our conversation goes, if they're like, we just want to do it, then I'm ready. I don't have to come back. I have all the paperwork, right? You know what I'm saying? But if they, want me to come back and do it, really dig into it, then that's fine too. So
Right.
I would prepare either way, just in case. But like you said, either can do the base and do that. And I've done that for many years, just doing the base and going there and then kind of putting it together. But that approach, like recently, I think it is a little bit
It's a differentiation.
It is. It
Most
really
agents will go with a market analysis and be like, okay, I think your house fits here. Do you want to list it? List it. That approach he's talking about is, you could go into there with a market analysis or nothing and say, I do things differently. Some agents will just come in here and think, just with these comps and say, your house should fit here somewhere. But I take it to a different level and I go back and do a ton more research and then come back with, a really honed in analysis on where your house needs to be. So it's a differentiating factor. I think it's a good one. And again, it's up to you how you decide what to do. I mean, probably when you're earlier on in your career, the two-step approach is probably better because, most of the time I could probably do a market analysis and walk into a house and then pick out a couple of the comps within the 6 to 8 that I brought on the listing and the sales side and say, if you're priced here, you're going to get showings, and the market's going to determine what your house is worth. It might be worth a little more than if we list it here. It might go above, it might go close, but this is the right price to be at least to get Matt's interest in your house. But or if you're early in your career, it's probably better to do the two-step approach and say, okay, I'm going to go back to my office and do some more research, and then you can get your opinion together. And I'm working with an agent today, just helping her, with it, because she's seen it. She's got pictures. She shared the pictures with me, and I'm helping her price it out so that she can go back and get the listing. So it just depends on how comfortable you are going in there and saying, I know based on these comps and seeing your house for 5 minutes, I know where it needs to be priced at, versus saying, okay, I'm going to go back and do some more research, and then I'm going to come back in 2 days.
If you're locked inside of one of those, and it's just like, it doesn't even get on the grid because it's so bad inside.
Yeah. So then you say, well, not having seen your house, I did this market analysis. I'm not going to give it to you because I want to go back and do some more research and really give you a best price, because it wasn't. I mean, I obviously got to be careful what you say, but just say, I think it doesn't fit in with the comps I selected based on the public record information that I had. So let me come back in a couple of days and share the market analysis with you. So that happens. All right. So objections. No, we are not planning on selling this year. So this is probably more likely if they were on the market last year and they pulled it off, and they said, no, we're not planning on selling this year. It's worth handling that objection, because sometimes the reason for not selling this year is they don't think they're going to get the money that they wanted for it, or they're just mad. Some people decide not to move over spite. It's funny how people work, but here's one of the handles you can use there. Oh, okay, did your plans change? Where were you planning to move if you sold? So you can get them into conversation, the better off you're going to be. Wow, that sounds great. If you get the price you wanted, would you think about moving there and trying to obtain that goal again? Okay, well, then why don't we at least do a valuation and stop by and I'll review it with you. Because sometimes they'll be like, yeah, if you can reconnect them with the goals. Well, we really wanted to move to Holden or whatever it was. Wow, that sounds great. So you want to get your kids in that school system? Yeah, I want to get the kids in that school system. Okay, great. Well, what, so again, why were you not planning on doing anything this year? Well, I don't think we're going to get what we want from the house. I didn't know. The market's changed. So sometimes those initial objections of we're not planning on selling this year have no real basis other than they might not want to fail again. Some people don't want to do it again because they don't want to fail. They don't want to be like, okay, I don't want to get our hopes up and have some agent just get our hopes up and list it and then it not sell and we'd be in the same boat we were last year. So some of this is just almost psychology stuff. It's breaking down fake objections into what's real, what's not, and some of it's not based on anything really other than you're like, really, you're not planning on relisting because you didn't like your agent? Another objection. Yes, we are, but we're going to relist with our last agent. Oh, really? I can appreciate your loyalty. Have you had a second opinion, at least on your valuation? Oh, no? Well, I would be happy to give you a competitive opinion on price, knowing you plan to relist with Mary Smith. If something happens to make you want to not use them again, at least you'll know what I have to offer. Does that sound fair? So you're basically just saying, okay, great, you're planning on relisting with Mary Smith. Well, have you had a second opinion? I do market analysis in your neighborhood all the time. I'm happy to do it in your house. That way, at least you have a second opinion in case something changes your mind. You're not saying, well, why would you want to relist with an agent? There are some scripts out there that will be like, well, why would you want to relist your agent with your last agent if they couldn't sell it the first time?
What are they going to do differently?
Right. And if you want to take a more aggressive approach, you can. And some agents will do that. Well, why would you do that? Why would you list with somebody that couldn't sell it the first time? How do you know that they're going to do something different to sell it this time if they would relist it? Those are approaches you can use. This one's a little bit more less aggressive. It's kind of, okay, great. You feel like you're going to do that. Well, what if you change your mind? wouldn't you want to know what else is out there? Or you could say, if it I know you're planning on relisting next week with Mary Smith. Well, if it doesn't work out again, you ought to know what else is out there for options if they relist it and it doesn't work again. They may change their mind just by you coming over and sitting down with them before they even relist with that other agent next week. So your goal is just to get your foot in the door. It's not to sell them over the phone. So use some kind of handler and just say, okay, I can understand why you want to be loyal, but what if things don't work out again, or if you change your mind? I'd love to share with you what I do just in case you do decide to not go without agent again. It's a good approach, I think. And that's it for the basic scripts. Again, they're just kind of starter lines. I'd read these through and try to internalize them and make them your own. But really, I mean, the biggest thing you can do is try to concentrate on keeping people on the phone. The longer you can keep somebody on the phone, the better chance you have of building rapport and getting your foot in the door, and getting the meeting with them. Time is critical. If you can keep them on the phone a couple minutes, you've got a very good chance of somehow getting your foot in the door. And if you get off script, which you will, the script should only really just be to start the conversation, is remember to ask all the open questions, is what you can call them: the who, what, when, where, and why. Why are you moving? Where were you planning on moving if you sold last year? How did it go while you were trying to sell last year? Oh, it sounds like you were frustrated with me last agent. Tell me why. I'm curious. So just get them talking. Get them talking about the market. Get them talking about anything, even if it's not real estate related. Who knows? It may end up on an off topic, or sometimes it's like, oh, do you know so and so? And all of a sudden, people you're connected with. You'd be surprised where things can go. Talking about the Red Sox, talking about the weather. I don't care what it is. Just keep them on the phone.
Can I add just one other thing?
Oh, yeah.
I think one of the scariest things is the first phone call. When I used to train recruiters, I would say, but we have a client who has a problem, and we have to get a team in there to fix their problems. If your mom needed a plumber and you couldn't find one, you would keep calling. So I need you to treat your client like your clients need, like the mom needs a plumber. So you just keep calling, you keep calling until you find somebody. And don't be afraid. You think that plumber was offended that you made 16 other phone calls to different plumbers? No, they don't care. Just like when I was calling, high-tech consultants, I just needed to find somebody who could help my client. Once they hung up the phone with me, they'd forgotten our conversation 5 minutes later. So don't dwell on the fact, oh my God, I have to make this phone call. Have that sense of urgency. Have that pleasant demeanor in your voice. Hi, I'm just, here hoping that you can help me solve my problem for my client. The client needs a house in your neighborhood. It's really that simple. And don't think of it as being like this big, oh my God, I have to make this phone call. You try to help somebody. That's your bottom line.
Yeah, no, definitely when you get on the phone, you want to be chipper. Some trainers used to say, make your cold calls in front of a mirror.
Smile.
So that you're smiling. So you're smiling when you're calling.
You can hear that.
You can hear a smile through the phone.
Yeah. You want to give good phone.
Yeah.
You really want to be good on the phone.
And honestly, in this business, that's in every call you make. Some of the best sponsoring agents and exit really are the ones that are the nicest. I don't care, if it's an annoying call from a co-broker or not. It might be just because they need more training, or they need to work for a more supportive company, or if it's not, then it's probably not someone you want to exit early anyways. But always treat people with respect and like they're your best friend. They're going to be your new best friend. And you call them and you're chipper in your voice and you just say, how's your day going? Hope all is well. Or, just be nice and you'd be surprised how far it would get you when you're cold calling. I mean, the other thing you can do is ask for help. Ask them for help. That's a great way to start a cold call. Is just say, I hope you're doing well today. I was wondering if I could ask you for some help. When you open with that question, they're immediately start to pay attention. They're like, what do you need help with?
Right.
People want to help. They want to be helpful. I'm looking for sellers in your neighborhood. I'm offering free market analysis to anybody in the neighborhood because we need more listings. Buyers have been interested in this neighborhood. Anytime anything comes in the market, they're selling fast, so we're looking for sellers that want to sell this year. Is there any way you can help? Do you know anybody looking to buy or sell? And, you've intrigued them at that point. It's weird when you ask somebody for help, they all of a sudden will take on a new kind of demeanor. You're not selling something to them, but you're asking for their help. So I'm not calling, if it's...
It puts them in a position of power,
I'm calling to
so
sell...
they feel better.
I'm calling to sell you a vacuum cleaner today. Right? That's what people are used to for cold calls and for, all these sales calls is, okay, what are you trying to sell me today? I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm calling to ask for your help. I need help finding listings in your neighborhood. So I think that's a great way to approach it. And it could simply be as that for all these different, you could boil all this down that we went through today into one simple script is, I'm calling, I'm asking for your help. I'm looking for sellers in the neighborhood, people that want to sell because we have a lack of inventory and buyers that are just waiting for the next house to come on the market. Do you know anybody looking to sell? That's it. Simple script. Use it on everything. Expires. Even expired. You know that expired. You don't have to say, I know your house expired. Hey, I'm calling and asking for your help. I'm calling people in the neighborhood, looking for people that want to sell because we have a lack of inventory. Very simple. Use it on every single one. Then you can throw all this paper away, and then you can eliminate the excuse of, well, I haven't practiced using enough to call.
Yep.
And if you're looking to get into this and you haven't done it before, make a goal to call one on, I'll give you even a couple of days. Say on Thursday, I'll work into this. On Thursday, I'll make one call. And on Friday, I'll make one call. And then next week, I'll make 2 calls on Monday, and I'll make 2 calls on Wednesday. And then the next week, I'll make 3, 4. Work into it. If you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to start Thursday, I'm going to make 50 calls, do you know what you're going to do? You're going to find something else to do. You're not going to do it. I can guarantee you won't do that on Thursday. 16 just do it. What do?
We need to find a different time during the day.
Yeah.
The 10 to noon hour or hours are kind of tough because people are usually at work. And most of the numbers that I was getting before she started doing the call directory stuff was from expireds, was house phones, landlines. So unless it's a stay-at-home mom or something,
Very tired.
there's no one there to call, so you're getting a lot of voicemails.
Do you leave voicemail?
Yeah. Yes, and I have a whole backlog list of people that call back.
They registered that they're
We're
running,
running late after.
and they may not be valid.
Yeah, that's
Some of them move, but they-
You're doing good. I have one that just goes nuts. She just
Sure.
rips through the papers, calls. It's the Indian thing.
Find an
But
answer.
they are finding the afternoons usually the best.
Okay.
Like 2, 3, 4 o'clock.
Are you getting people on the
In
phone?
this week.
Yeah.
How's it going?
She's still, a lot of them are like, oh, I'm not interested, they put it off. If they're new to, say, not used to the objections, so we keep working on that part, the objections. But she's not shy at all. She's very warm, and they'll talk for a while. Thanks for your time. If you need anybody, at least she gets them on the phone and gets her name out there, so.
Do you guys follow up with a little note card or business card to those people?
We haven't yet, no.
Okay. If you do get somebody on the phone that you keep on the phone for a couple minutes and they're like, okay, well, sorry, I'm not looking to do anything, but yeah, I'll keep you in mind. But sometimes even if you talk to somebody and they're not looking to do anything and they say, no, I don't really know anybody right now, but you had a good 2-minute conversation that was just great,
Yeah.
put them in a follow-up database. I would send them a little, it was great talking to you on the phone. Here's my business card in case you know anybody's looking to buy or sell. It's a great follow-up to a great call.
Yeah.
To just send that out, just have some note cards on your desk.
I was just gonna say, have your postcards right there and have them stamp right there, have them pre-stamped, have them ready to go. It's just,
Right.
you're gonna do it that way.
It's great too if you have a buyer that's really seriously interested in that town. Like in Holden, there's not a lot of people and there are not a lot of houses. So the Fesbos are very popular or expired. And I actually was able to get one of my clients in there. They were fine with us coming in and the whole 9 yards. And I followed up afterwards. And I'm like, we're still thinking about it, but we appreciate it and I'll call you. So, and all you can do is send a note and then follow up. Again, hopefully they're gonna want to talk to you. But when you have somebody to actually go in, it really intrigues them too. So.
Most people don't follow up, that's the difference. If you actually do the follow-up, it's like, oh, wow, and having something personal from them is,
That's one of the hardest parts too. I actually got off the phone yesterday with this lady, and I was on the phone with her for 5 minutes. She lives in Vegas. She's selling a multifamily in Worcester. And I talked to her in the fall. She goes, definitely call me back in the spring. I'm going to want to sell it again. I was like, okay, perfect. I called her. She had an agent who she didn't like at all, and the agent brought her a crappy cash offer that she accepted 2 days before I called her. Follow up before you say you're going
Yeah,
to.
they-
Don't,
They,
you know, like,
they thank you too. You don't have to go on like every week. I wait like 10 days. I don't like to go much 10 days. And I have 2 people that try to decide which house to sell and maybe both. I mean, that could be a 3 purchase rate. You don't let those sit around. Every time. I'm so glad that you called back. I'm not avoiding you. He lost his job. We're trying to do this. We can't figure out which one. Thanks for keeping on back. I'll call you back. And if she doesn't call me back on the day she says, I call her back the next day after.
Right.
You call back on such and such day. So tomorrow's my day to call them.
yeah.
You put on your calendar,
Phone
reminder,
free
Angela, call them,
If you're making those calls too, a lot of times just call and say, hey, I was thinking about you. If you need any help with anything, I know you're going through a tough transition, getting ready to list. I'm here for you. It's not, are you ready to list yet? Are you ready to list yet? Are you ready to list yet? Are you ready to list yet?
Personal.
That's, that'll get you to be like, oh, I'm not gonna go. It's just annoying me. But if you're offering to help, that's a different story.
Like he lost his job, he had an interview, so I called and said, the next day, how the interview go? Did it work? Did it go back for a second one? It doesn't have to be about the house. They're your friends. You have to treat them as your friends. That's why you're calling them. If you don't care about them, then you're not going to care about anything else in Pascal.
Yeah. I definitely agree. If someone says, oh, I'm gonna wait till May to list, call me back in April. You don't call them back in April, you call them in March. Yeah.
Don't make
And just say, I know and you can say, where are you
Somebody else
thinking? You can say, I know you were thinking about May, but I just want to check and see if that was still your plan because things are hot right now. It could be just that.
Not a lot of inventory, you won't have a lot of competition.
I'm looking out for your best interest. I know your plan on May, but if anything changed, I'll let you know it's really hot right now.
Yeah.
That could be the call too. So,
anything that's slightest change, like I have a guy who does taxes, and he said, right now I'm so busy I can't do anything. I said, yeah, but the house that you and your wife like, they just dropped the price and gonna give a kickback on closing. You sure you want to do a free call now? You know what I mean? You let them know. I'm not trying to bug you. I know you're busy. This is just an FYI. What can I do to help you?
There's a static there. It's probably just, I forget exactly what it was, but somewhere around 70% of all business comes in after the 7th follow-up. Yeah.
Do you feel like, because I'm new to this whole thing, do you feel calling is where it's at instead of emailing when you're
Yes.
following
Yes.
up?
Yes.
Always call.
It's more personal.
Okay.
Like I took my whole list instead of me calling my people, I gave it to my team. And I said, calling people, say, Angela said, call you. She wanted to, can you do us a favor? Do you know anybody? And it's a warm call. It's not a call for them. So switch your list out. Then you don't feel as, nervous about it. You can use me as a stepping ground. Angela told me to. Kind of switch your list, yeah. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Get them used to the calling, to soft calls. Switch your list between friends.
Mhm.
has anyone gotten lost on purpose?
Got lost.
Is this your story yesterday?
No, perfect.
I was on the phone all morning, didn't have a whole lot of success. I was tired of staring at the computer screen. My wife came home and was like, I'm going to the gym. I got up, I got in the car, and I went to the gym for an hour. Set myself 60 minutes. I'm in and out and done in 60 minutes. And I got out of the gym, and I was like, I don't know where this road goes. And I just took a turn. And I pulled my GPS out, and I looked down, and I found a little neighborhood that was enclosed on 2 busy streets on either side. And I just drove in. I was like, I've never even seen these. A bunch of little ranches, 1-car, 2-car garages, mid-range houses, not a single for sale sign in the entire area. I pinned it on my GPS and I called her. I said, can you give me a call directory for this neighborhood? And that's the neighborhood that I'm going back to this weekend. It's in West Boylston. It's minutes from the highway, but it's secluded. I would buy a house there, and that's exactly what I'm going to say.
And when you drive by and you see the Fezbo's or you see a sign for sale, stop, take a picture, and you can go home afterwards. I was running in Shrewsbury on Saturday and ran by my, ooh, they got a sign at the end here and a house down there with no information. I'm calling them.
Take a picture, take a picture.
Yeah, you take a picture of their
Yeah.
sign, and then you have the number, you can call it later. No, it's for the fine. You gotta use everything you can to do it. You have no idea that knock on the door can make a difference,
Right.
you know?
When you call that one, you can even say, oh, I sell properties in your neighborhood and I didn't know it was for sale. I didn't see it online at all, but I was running by and I saw it for sale by owner sign. It's like saying, nobody knows your house is for sale. Yeah.
It's
Some
a
of them are
secret.
tough too, because then they flip it around. Some that have been flipping houses, they use you for your information. And then when they're all done with you, you have to be very suave with them. Say, you expect me to walk in here and just tell you what I think you should sell your house and you're not gonna use me? I don't think so. And you gotta be willing to be, draw that line of what you're gonna do and not do. It's still not up and I'm waiting about another week and then I'm gonna call him and say, see, your house still isn't up. What's going on? You want some help yet?
Yeah, you don't give away your professional skills, why would I give away mine?
Yeah.
You work for free?
Yeah,
No, me neither.
exactly.
Okay, then that's it.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good luck with the cold call.
And post your success. If you
Yes.
ask me for cold directories